Hello and welcome to Balanced Existence, a space for like-minded and open-minded individuals seeking to better themselves spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So I have pulled the Eight of Cups, and I know exactly where this reading is meant to take us now. Beforehand I wasn't quite sure, but now everything's just coming in. It's like really energetic. So I already know that this is going to be a reading for someone. It may be you may have a twin flame, or you may be seeking to kind of find union with yourself after having lost that through a connection or relationship. And what I'm seeing is this beautiful sparkling pond with like a little waterfall and flowers all around, like just glimmers and sparkles in the water, in the air, like a serene, beautiful place. And I think this reading will especially be for a divine feminine. You may even have really strong water in your chart. And this idea of just waiting, wading, in this pond is just like this beautiful goddess-like fantasy, right? Like this is your happy place. This is your spot. And what I'm seeing is your divine masculine or your counterpart. Again, take the gender however it resonates. It doesn't have to resonate for you. But your divine masculine is on the banks, like the shore of where the water meets the land. There's like a shallow shore. And for some of you, this may be a very long time connection. I'm hearing like years, like I'm seeing like 5 and 10. It could be some multiple. It could be like 5 to 10 years. That's very specific. That may not resonate for you, but regardless, it's a very powerful connection, even if it's been 5-10 months, right? Like it's something that's very intense, like lightning. I'm seeing lightning. So he's always been on the banks, right? Like maybe he's dipped his toes into the water, but he's never really gotten in fully. And the metaphor here is like the water is kind of like your plane of existence that's full of love, loyalty, commitment, like just that pure love energy. And whether you have been in a full relationship with this person, or if it's just kind of been a dragged out connection, it could be something that was just casual and you wanted it to be more. Like there's very many ways that this could have manifested, but ultimately I'm getting that you wanted him to, and again, I'm just using the gender for ease, but take it as it resonates, but you wanted him to meet you where you were at. And he never got in fully. And there may have been this self-sacrifice of you kind of like meeting him in the shallow waters and trying to accommodate his fear of getting into the water, or his stubbornness or lack of desire to kind of meet you where you were at. And so you would meet him in this kind of shallow shore, but when you would go back into the deeper waters of the pond, he would never follow you back or come with you. And maybe you tried to convince him, maybe even tried to drag him or pull him in, but like he was not trusting and he would just leave. And so you have spent a lot of time kind of waiting in the water and waiting for him. And you're getting to this point where you're starting to think like there are other places I could be swimming to. You've spent so much time in this area, but there's a whole stream, there's a whole infinite stream that'll take you to other ponds and other lakes and rivers, and right, like an infinite abundance of places that you could swim to and explore, right? And maybe just in this kind of pond area, not just the shallow place where he's gone, but even in like kind of the deeper areas of this pond, there's a lot for you to explore. But the pond eventually feeds into this stream that will take you to other places, right? And so you're starting to wonder if you should leave your pond. And there may even be this fear of like, is waiting around here, wading with a D, causing me to lose my skills of swimming in deeper waters and in waters of faster currents, like into the stream, into the river. Like you may feel like this staying where you're at is actually hindering you from your greater growth for your soul. And so you're kind of at this really pivotal point of wondering if you should be waiting for him or if you should be journeying elsewhere. And what I am getting is that you have come to a place, a moment in your growth, in your soul's evolution, where you have stronger boundaries than you ever have, and you've determined that you're not going to meet him in those shallow waters anymore, and that if he's going to come back to your life, he needs to get in fully. But you just don't know if that will happen, if he will rise to meet this potential that you can feel so strongly, and you have been able to feel this potential for many years. And so as you're kind of exploring the deepest areas of this pond, which is not nearly as deep as all of the other places you could be exploring if you were to leave this pond, but it's as deep as you can go where you're at. You're learning how to prioritize your self-love and your self-care. You're exploring the depths of anything you possibly can. And so he's out of sight, but you're kind of in what feels like this stagnant period. And you have this optimistic hope that he will eventually come back and get in, and you guys will swim down the stream and, leave the pond together. And so ultimately he has free will. You know this. He could choose to stay on land the rest of his life. And if you knew that was going to be the case, you would be making maybe different decisions, but you're kind of holding out for this potential of this beautiful story. And that's just where your soul has brought you. But, it's starting to get to a point where the water is slowly becoming stagnant. It's not at the point where you have to leave right now, maybe, but something is kind of welling up inside you we've got the 8 of Wands coming out right here. So and the Fool. So there's kind of this itching for moving on, starting a new journey, but you would love for that person to be involved in it. And so what you're learning now, being in this pond and kind of coming to this conclusion and setting these stronger boundaries, you're marching to the beat of your own drum. You know what you want in life, and you're open to him being there. But you are getting to a point where you've got that 8 of Wands, passionate, action-taking energy, and you want to know, is this person going to join me? Is this person going to rise to the potential that I have felt in them this whole time? So I want to channel more into this. So we've got the Chariot. So what I'm getting here is this concept of you being so committed to taking these obstacles of your past and making amends, finding the strength to, overcome this separation between you. But there's this push and pull between you and this person, because you have kind of modeled your life around them. Like, you perceived your life as it related to this other person. And you've done this for so long that it became this push and pull. And, you are at this point of overcoming this feeling of, okay, they're either going to meet me where I'm at and come with me and I'll have fulfillment, or they're not going to rise to the level I need them to, and it will be heartbreaking and it will, ruin our destiny, right? Like there's kind of that, like they're either going, so much power is given to them because of you feeling that strong energy of potential with them. It's so strong that it's hard for you to see or even accept it. It's either like it either works or it doesn't, and it's devastating, right? There's no in between. And we have the temperance coming through. So we're getting this energy of taking what was once out of balance, blending these opposing forces, this push and pull, and achieving this equilibrium, this balance, which is only done in a state of complete surrender to the divine. And in that state, you recognize like how amazing your life is, regardless of the external circumstances, regardless of whether this person meets your needs. And it's such a easier said than done concept, but you're really starting to learn this in an embodied way. Like you're starting to feel in your body, like, I'm seeing like a camera that's like panned or like zoomed out, so that, not zoomed, but it's like you and this person are in frame. You're far away from each other, but you're both in frame. And that camera is like a metaphor for your perception and your reality. And what's happening is the camera is tilting and turning to face only you. So only you're in the shot, only you're in the frame. And maybe it's even zooming in on you, right? Like your life, your perception is being turned back to you as the focus. The spotlight is coming back onto you. And getting to this point takes this openness, right? Because you're still open to him meeting you in your frame, like coming into your frame. You're not going to tilt the camera back towards them. You're not going to go back to those shallow waters and, compromise your boundaries, your needs, your standards. They have to meet you at your level, because for so long your needs were neglected. And so you're starting to feel this surrender to love and to love's timing, because you ultimately realize, like, as much as you feel this strong energy with this person, and maybe it even feels impossible for you to feel that with anyone else, or for you to be with anyone else. And if it feels like that, it's okay. We can honor that. That's a real feeling that you're having. But we also meet that feeling with the knowing, and not just at a cognitive level, but this knowing at a soul level, that love is the most important thing, not this person, right? And so, of course, if this person can meet you in love, that's beautiful. But we have to maintain this openness in order to fully be surrendered. If he's the one, he will meet you. If he's not the one, someone else aligned with your soul will. And either way, your dreams are safe. Your ability to experience love and to tap into love is safe, either way. And knowing that on an embodied level, not just of the mind, knowing that on an embodied level is what's really going to push you through this portal into this world of the temperance. This new world that the temperance is describing and embodying. So I have an affirmation. I honor the love I feel for him. I don't have to close my heart to protect myself, and I don't have to sacrifice myself by waiting. I'm open to him if he rises, and I am open to life if it brings me love in another form. Either way, love is finding me, and I trust myself to recognize it when it arrives. So I know that that's kind of long, and you don't want your affirmation necessarily to have like negating statements, like I don't have to do this or I don't have to do that. You don't necessarily want to repeat affirmations of that nature because you want to focus more on what you do feel. And so the affirmation to repeat would probably be the portion that says, I'm open to him if he rises to meet me at my level, and I am open to life if it brings me love in another form. I am open to love in whatever form it comes to me, right? Like, love is finding me, and I trust myself to recognize love when it arrives. I trust myself to be opened to the love when it finds me. And I'm also getting like these affirmations I've like provided are like steps. Like first you acknowledge what this person gave you. You thank them for the lessons, the memories, all of the moments of love. You know, the privilege and the gift and the opportunity it is to be able to experience love, even if it's riddled with challenges in the way that you may feel that yours was. But just the gift of the lessons, even the challenging lessons, being able to perceive them as gifts and perceive this entire interaction as something that was a beautiful lesson or a beautiful compilation of memories. Then the second step is to release the story that we were fixated on, turn the camera back to us, release the version of the story that was just purely in those shallow waters and never what you needed. You give the energy back to them and you call your own energy home. Then the third step is to reclaim yourself. Steps 2 and 3 are kind of like joined together. By giving the energy back to them, you then reclaim your own energy for yourself. You choose love, you keep the love, you free yourself of the attachment. And you trust that, if he's the one, he'll come, he'll meet you there. If something is truly yours, it will not pass you by. This is, again, it's so much easier said than done, but when you feel it on an embodied level, like you feel it in your body, you're getting there. You're close. The fourth step is to anchor in that openness, and that's what I'm talking about. In the body, you're anchored. You're open to love in its aligned form. You're open to new connections. You trust in divine timing. And we're getting the Page of Wands. So this concept of this new beginning, this creative energy, this inspiration and enthusiasm and exploration, a bold action. This could be something, a passion that you're pursuing. As you turn that camera and that spotlight back to you being the focus of your life, you may be experiencing so many downloads as to like all of these, previously neglected passions that you had that now you're being called to nurture and follow and take bold action on. Whether it's a project or whether it's a new relationship, depending on where you're at in your healing journey and, how ready you are. This could also, it could be a very specific project, or it could just be, the aura and the energy of having an open mind. This may be the first time in your life that you are experiencing what it's like to have an open mind, an open heart, a curious mind, a willingness to, stretch out of the box that you kept yourself in, to accept an experience that in the past you may not have opened yourself up to. And with the 2 of Swords, the 10 of Swords, and the 2 of Cups, I'm really strongly getting this message of overcoming this blockage, blocking yourself up, blindfolding yourself to the opportunities in life. This is the end of that. And that's what's going to lead you to that Two of Cups energy. And it's not about trusting others and having this like perfect Two of Cups relationship come in and save you from your past strife. It's about trusting yourself, right? Like, back to that Chariot energy, like overcoming that push and pull and, getting to that, overcoming that challenge, overcoming feeling like this person kind of pulls you out of balance and kind of coming into that self-sovereignty. It's not about trusting others. It's about trusting yourself, that you will be able to survive if somebody betrays you. You will be able to survive anything in life because you have found that inner strength. And you have the willpower, right? Like you have the skills and you have the willpower to, overcome conflict and challenge and, leave behind your doubts and, allow your commitment to your self-transformation to bring you clarity, victory, rewards, right? Like, it's like a very empowered state to be in. And so with the ending of this era where we embodied the Two of Swords, we're stepping into this realization of why not open ourselves to receiving more? Why not open our hearts? We know that we deserve abundance. We don't just know it on a cognitive level. We know it in our bodies, right? Aren't we getting there? And so if we lose something in life, whether it's love or money or anything, knowing that we will survive is true abundance. And feeling that in an embodied physical state in your body is a true skill. And you have the Chariot on your side. You have this willpower and self-mastery to anchor in that knowing that you will survive. Knowing that when we came to Earth and we took this human body, we agreed. We agreed to sacrifice. We agreed that we were going to feel pain. We were going to sometimes suffer and eventually die, right? Like in this physical body. But we did that for the bettering of and the evolution of Earth. And I'm getting chills channeling that. So there's really no reason for us to be afraid of pain or loss because it's all part of the contract, right? It's the natural way of being that we come to Earth and we experience these things. So isn't the most empowered way to live then to be anchored in that knowing that we can survive anything? Because ultimately our souls will survive. And so how do you want to spend your time on Earth, on the school of Earth? Every time we survive something that's difficult, we evolve ourselves and we evolve the whole planet. So I know that was really quantum, but I feel like this is a really, really important message when it comes to the Eight of Cups, because the Eight of Cups is really showing us like it's not just about getting over a person, or it's bigger than that, right? It's this concept of the self-transformation that we came here to do, and the pivot from being asleep to the purpose of our lives to waking up to that purpose and waking up to our self-empowerment. And then from there, we can open ourselves to love. We can experience love because we know in our empowered self-sovereignty that there's nothing we can lose in life that we can't survive from. And I also just want to add a quick note about recognizing your growth. And I'm hearing the analogy of like recognizing your growth is like outgrowing a song that you used to love. So, for example, I have old playlists that I made like chronologically. Like, these are the songs I listened to in high school. These are the songs I listened to in this year that followed. And when I listen back, it's always such a nostalgic and eye-opening experience, because there are songs that we can listen to now, like from the past, that we listen to now, and maybe you sing along because it's catchy, or, you know, maybe there's kind of like that nostalgic feeling that comes with the song, you know, and maybe you even still have the lyrics memorized because it's like a muscle memory, but you know, like, it doesn't resonate in the way that it did, especially like if there's specific lyrics in that song that you just simply don't resonate with anymore. And it's really interesting because we can still allow ourselves to kind of feel, there is some kind of sense of joy of singing along with that song because of its maybe nostalgic feeling or because of the memories that are associated with it. But it's kind of just like, oh yeah, I'll sing to it. I appreciate the song, but it's not going to be like your favorite song that you're going to like put on replay all the time because it doesn't resonate in the same way that it used to. And so what I'm getting at here is this concept of like, you know, the song may bring you these little aspects of joy. It's nostalgic, it's catchy, whatever it is, but it's not the same as a song that you listen to that you truly resonate with, right? And that like on a deeply emotional level, which are typically going to be the songs that you find in real time. Like, you know, maybe there are some songs from your past that still, you know, they just hit really deep and they still resonate fully on that emotional level. But most of the songs that we listen to from our past that maybe we had a phase where we were completely obsessed with the song, typically those songs aren't the ones that we fully resonate with still. And so, you know, there's kind of a slippery slope here of just making sure you have the awareness, like, okay, I'm singing along to this song, but, you know, especially if maybe the lyrics are like toxic or just like of a lower frequency that you just don't vibe with anymore. But again, maybe there's a sense of nostalgia or catchiness or just knowing the lyrics, you know, still having the lyrics memorized after all these years that makes you still enjoy the song. But the slippery slope is that like having the awareness that like, you know, of the things that you still like about the song, but remembering that, you know, this doesn't resonate. Like, this is simply like a memory. It's a past version of myself that I'm just taking a moment to, you know, feel that kind of gratitude for. Like, when we look back at our old memories and the ways we acted, you know, we may not resonate with that, but we look back and we go, oh, okay, like that's where I was at that time. You know, like that's the song that I liked at this time in my life. Or, you know, when you look back at how you behaved in a situation or how you responded to something and you go, well, that's where I was at that time in my life. There's no like shame around it. You simply just allow yourself to look back, you know, with love and with compassion for yourself and with just general gratitude for your journey, you know. So in other words, you're not mistaking this old song or this old pattern or memory as something that you want to revisit or repeat, but rather you're just recognizing it solely for its place in your history of growth. On the other hand, there are probably some instances where you listen to an old song that you used to feel totally resonating with, and the song isn't even catchy to you anymore. Maybe it actually annoys you because you overplayed it so many times, right? Or maybe the song kind of triggers you because it reminds you of, you know, those moments where you just acted in a way that just isn't out of alignment. And of course, that trigger may be a signal of some deep shame that we may need to work through and bring light to. But ultimately, there are cases where, you know, we just don't resonate with the song. We so strongly don't resonate with the song that we don't even really enjoy listening to it, right? And just again, just feeling like there's no need to feel that shame, you know, like we're meant to grow And anyway, I got that analogy and I wanted to share that because I think it's just really, it's really important for us to be able to kind of recognize our growth, because sometimes our growth is just so gradual that it's hard to know like when we've actually reached that point. So I wanted to speak a little bit about that on this topic of just feeling like that self-empowered state and being able to kind of move on from, use that Eight of Cups energy to move on from these past ways of being, these states of mind or states of being that we existed in, where we had this fear of loss, or, fear that we weren't going to be able to survive, or fear that we needed somebody or we needed some external circumstance, right? Now we can kind of realize that, well, I don't really resonate with that song anymore. Like, that song's not really catchy to me anymore. So that's just like a side tangent on that. And you are beginning to feel, I was actually going to end right here, but I'm just getting a whole nother channeled message of like romantic. I'm seeing like pink hearts and just love and like sparkly pink clouds. Kind of like this fairy tale fantasy love is like channeling through me right now. And it's this concept of like, you are beginning to feel so excited to spend time with yourself. As we've kind of tilted this camera back to you, that feeling that you may have once felt when you were beginning to date another person and feeling that infatuation phase, you're starting to feel that with yourself. And I'm getting chills channeling into this. Like the idea of having a night with yourself, or a day with yourself, or a moment, or however long it is with yourself, feels so exciting to you. Whether it's a giddiness of excitement of, just the being present with yourself, or whether it's just this kind of inner peace and contentment, however it manifests for you. But you're learning to check in with yourself more, especially like as you get more in union with yourself, you may find yourself feeling more energetically sensitive, but not in a bad way, in a way where you're more energetically in tune with yourself. So if you have a moment of stress, you are able to check in with yourself and pick up on that, instead of kind of burying it for the sake of survival mode. And I'm getting chills again channeling this. These moments of self-reflection and meditation, this is what is keeping you in touch with your intuition, connected with your intuition, and it keeps you grounded. And it's that perfect balance of, being in touch with your heart and your soul's voice and guidance, while also being grounded in your body in this physical plane. It's the balance from the root to the crown chakra. Your whole body's in balance. And this is exactly how you want to be living life. And this is what you once dreamed. I'm hearing you once dreamed your life would be like this. And it's happening. You've set this intention and it is happening. If your past version of yourself could see yourself now, they would just feel immense joy. And the ripple effect is so strong here when you live this way. Your dream life, your highest timeline, whatever you want to call it. I'm getting chills again, channeling into this. The ripple effect is so strong. And notice that, like, this is such an internal journey, right? Like, yes, we go through moments of stress and we check in with ourselves, and that's the normal ebb and flow of life, right? But notice that, like, there's no external circumstance that has to be met in order for you to get here. You're already getting here. And there may be things in your external life that you want to change, or you're not satisfied or fulfilled by. But you can still get to this embodiment without those external circumstances being fixed or being in your favor, right? Like, living your dream life in your highest timeline is not a result of having the external world fit your desires. It's a result of having an internal state that is balanced it's grounded, it's connected to your intuition, right? It's that internal lightness, lightheartedness. So, and we get there by asking, what are you looking forward to? Or what are you doing in this better yet, what are you doing in this present moment? It's important to not focus on the gap between what you have and what you want, but more so what you are feeling in this present moment. Every single moment is a fresh, new opportunity to make it feel how you want it to, because you have free will and you have that power. And as you practice kind of that emotional, I don't want to say emotional control, but it's kind of like the empowered state where you get to conjure and create the emotions that you want to feel. So in that way, you're kind of like controlling how you feel in any given moment, because you have the power to conjure any positive feeling that you want to feel. So every moment is an opportunity to make it feel how you want it to, regardless of your external circumstances, regardless of your past experiences, right? This is an important concept of understanding that the external circumstances are not important here. And back to this ripple effect, I'm just getting a ton of channeled information here. Whether or not your information or your presence reaches other people in the physical or literal sense, energetically, it definitely does, right? So this ripple effect is so strong. As you're getting to this place where you just absolutely love yourself, that ripple effect, do not underestimate the power of that ripple effect. And yeah, I'm hearing this analogy of everything we do, say, think, and feel is an energetic currency. So how are you spending your energy? And it's like all of these energy waves are forming like a current from the ripple effect, right? So this is like a really complex kind of quantum message. I'm trying to find the words to explain it, but basically, like, as your love of self gets stronger, your ripple effect gets stronger, right? As you're living your dream life, not dream life in the sense of I got everything I want in the external world, but dream life in the sense of I feel amazing and I choose how I feel in every moment. And that doesn't mean feeling positive all the time. We still allow ourselves, to feel difficult emotions, but like ultimately you recognize the beauty of your journey, of the ebb and flow of feelings, right? And so living your dream life really means feeling how you want to feel in any given moment. And that ripple, as the stronger it gets, it forms a current. And that current is what's reaching other people. It's forming like a vortex, right? And so you get to choose, like, where do you want this vortex? What do you want this vortex to look like? If you imagine these like a winding staircase, or like stepping stones kind of being formed in this vortex shape. Like, you don't want survival mode and, difficult challenges to define your vortex, right? You want it to be defined by the moments that you overcome these things. We're coming back to that chariot energy. And so we embody this kind of abundance and positive dream life mindset. And then our vortex this current that's formed from our ripples, this vortex ripples out and affects others and affects the planet. So slowing down and being present and taking the time to check in with yourself, stop and smell the flowers, right? Like, pivot your path in ways that feels good to you, right? Like in any given moment. You don't want to let these moments pass you by. And especially like if you're getting downloads of guidance throughout the day, like write it down. I'm hearing like your guides want you to, in your busy world where your mind is pulled so many different directions, I'm hearing that some of you are getting downloads throughout the day and you may not be giving them the time that you really want to be giving them. And I'm hearing like write it down or like record a voice note and you can come back to it later and it will mean something, right? Like in the moment, it may just seem like a minor, insignificant piece of information, but when you come back to it, it's going to be a completely helpful, if not revolutionary, piece of information. So I know that was like a long kind of tangent, all stemming from this like beautiful self-love that you're stepping into. And, we went from the 8 of Cups to the Temperance to the 2 of Cups in this like beautiful, improving and expanding vortex of energy. And I just think that like you have so much amazing energy coming towards you and you're on the brink of it. Like, and I'm getting one more download. I keep thinking I'm going to end this reading and I'm just like, there's so much that's being channeled right here. It's very powerful. But like what I'm getting as it relates, especially to this person, or dating in general, is like as you are lightening up your energy and really embodying this like lightheartedness essence and existence, you are like an angel for other people. And I don't mean this in like an egoic way where you're better or you're more enlightened, but I mean that as your energy gets lighter, again, like even if you're not physically in people's presence, like the ripple effect and the energy of what we say, think, do, feel is very real. And other people can be triggered or intimidated or even scared by that energy. And I'm seeing the analogy of like a human seeing an angel, right? Like it's kind of scary to see like a big presence like that, or to see or feel or hear. It can be scary, right? But an angel doesn't dim their light to make others feel comfortable, right? I mean, if somebody can't absorb and accept the energy fully, then the angel would just not make themselves visible to that person. And it's not in a way of judgment of like, oh, you're not good enough to be around me, right? An angel would never say that. An angel would just be like, okay, this person will get scared if they see this energy. So I'm just going to kind of send them love from a distance. And that's honestly what most of us who have relationships with our angels, we may not be literally seeing them with our eyes or hearing them with our ears or feeling them with our touch, right? Like we may feel them in other intuitive ways. Many of you may, but many of us, it's a more subtle, intuitive relationship we have, because simply if an angel made themselves known to us, like we would be fully scared, right? Like it would be completely life-changing and scary, right? And in that same way, like when you know, we're not angels, we're humans, right? But like in this metaphor, when you lighten up your energy like that, it can be very triggering to other people. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have that beautiful, expansive energy that's raising in frequency constantly. It just means that you may not be able to be around those people or visible to those people. You may need to keep yourself, you know, at a distance from them and send them love from a distance. So I hope that analogy makes sense. I think it's kind of like uncommon to like compare humans to angels, but in the context of just understanding like how much your energy and your frequency is being raised, I want you to also understand like how that's perceived by others, and that's not, the more your frequency is raised, the less you may be able to be perceived by others in a way that doesn't result in them being triggered, right? Like you may find that you have to be more energetically sensitive with who you surround yourself with, or who, you allow your path to cross with. So I wanted to tap in on that, but like if any of this reading resonated with you, I know it went so many directions, so please let me know if it resonated. I feel like this is not the last that we're going to hear of this energy, so be sure to subscribe, and just let me know in the comments if anything like resonated with you. And thank you so much for listening, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.